So I had to come on and do this video. I'm trying to keep up with my lives, even though I'm not going to be on every day, but I definitely have messages to share almost every day, because I got to get this stuff out of my system. You know, I got to share it. I got to release it. So it goes on Ashley TV, and then it becomes other things too. So the topic kept coming up last night inside of my mind about people being offended. So like I always have this thing, like when me and Steve do our podcast, that like people are going to be offended by the things that I say, because I'm not used to talking about a lot of those things that I talk about on that show, you know, in these videos. We get a little bit more political, but to me, I try to go in through the back end of politics and go more into the occult aspect of it, because that's what I know. But I know sometimes that I'll say things and they're probably offensive to people, especially the people that follow me, because I know that a lot of you that follow me are super sensitive. And you don't want to hear about some of that stuff. So, but I can't help it. You know what I mean? Like, I can't. Like, I was even talking to my friend Ashley today, and I was like, I can't stop talking about that stuff. It needs to be talked about. And I have had Mary Magdalene's energy around me all day. I just made Mary Magdalene candles, making Mary Magdalene kits. And it's funny because Jess found, so if you guys, anybody that came to the Mary Magdalene, when did I do that ceremony?
Know, but I'm going to make it.
Was that in the beginning of this year? I put aside a bunch of crystals that I had on the altar for that ceremony. So everyone that went to that ceremony knows that it was super powerful. And Jess found them downstairs. And I'm like, oh, Shayna said it was January. So I was like, oh my God, of course. I was told today, make Mary Magdalene candles at my house. And then we get to the shop and just like, hey, do you want me to?
Well, yeah, because I found them last week and she's been around me ever since then. Yeah. And I'm like, well, I haven't thought to say anything to you.
So it's funny because my friend Ashley, who didn't know that I was making Mary Magdalene candles today, goes, I feel like you work with Mary Magdalene on like a whole different level. Mm-hmm. And like she's making you expose all of this stuff and talk about it. Because she doesn't care about offending people. Yes, like she can be the type of energy that comes off really strong and can be like quite offensive, you know. She's not about holding back at all.
Nope.
And that's how Ashley is normally. So, you know, I'm like, offended. What do you want me to talk about with being offended? Because I don't want to talk about like the typical way of like, you know, we're in a culture right now, and I remember Joe Rogan was talking about it on one of his podcasts, that we're in like our culture is to be outraged about everything. And I was thinking about that, and those words that he said have been repeating in my mind for like months since I've heard that. And I'm like, what does that mean, that we're outraged by everything? Because I'm not outraged by like what a lot of people are outraged by. Like I see the underlying things that are happening, and I use my spiritual discernment, and I'm like, that's why this shit is happening. That's why this shit is happening. I'm not offended by that because I know they're putting that out in the news to cover up this shit that's going on. So like, this is how I work. I know how to, because I've been doing this since I was 15. I'm 33. So it's been most of my life that I've been dissecting the media and dissecting the way that people talk. And like then when I got into my mid-20s, I was like, holy shit, I can read people's energy and this is crazy. And so I know how people get offended over anything and everything these days. Yes, you're right. But let's go into this and have conversations, because this is why I'm here. I want to talk about this. I want to get your little fucking wheels in your head rolling, and we're gonna compare it to two different things. So us, we're 33. I'm 33. Jess is like a little bit older than me. We're indigo children. You know, Jamie's on here too. I think Jamie's on here too. She's got a lot of indigo in her too. We're all about offending people. Like when we were growing up, offending people was the thing.
It was fun.
And it was in our culture. It wasn't to be outraged by everything. Like in the 90s, being offensive was fucking cool. Like, look at all the comedians that were out in the 90s. Like, they were fucking crazy. Like, you can't say some of the shit that these people were saying now. Like, everything that was cool was offensive.
Yeah.
You know?
My daughter gets so mad.
Yeah, Jamie just said everything out of my mouth was offensive. Me too. Like, it was the cool thing to be super offensive. And, like, I'm gonna say this in this video. Like, we would use words like gay, fag, retarded, like we don't use those words anymore, like, because that is offensive. Like, our generation realizes now, like, holy shit, I can't believe that we said that stuff
like that, and it was,
you know what I mean? And
not the way it's used now.
Right. No. Like, now we realize that was actually, like, hurtful to people, and a lot of us are like, holy shit, like, why did we talk like that?
Conditioned to, like,
but that's how, like, I grew up listening to Eminem, and he used those words all the time. You know what I mean? Like, ICP, they use those words all the time too. Like, that was something. But to me, as I'm analyzing this in an energetic form, that's the indigo, the shock factor too. Like, we love to be shocked. Like, I'm getting goosebumps after you said that, Jamie. Like, I used to watch wrestling when I was like 15, 16 and watch people get tossed in glass and on barbed wire. And even in WWE, which was WWF at the time, they were gigging. I think that's what wrestlers call it, where they cut their foreheads open and then there's just blood all over the ring. And they were hitting each other with chairs, and that was a big thing with Chris Benoit. He actually killed his family, and they think that he had way too many concussions, and that was one of the reasons why wrestlers stopped hitting each other with chairs. They stopped doing, like, the tables, ladders, and chairs match. Like, you're not allowed to do that stuff anymore because it affects your mental health. But yeah, we were all about that shock factor, and that's how we lived our lives, and that is the indigo energy. And when that energy is out of control, it can be very destructive, which we were the destroyers. Like, we were breaking down everything. Like, I remember my mom would be watching Leave It to Beaver when I came home, like, and she would be like,
or a soap opera,
soap operas, like, those were our parents, is like, they were living in, like, a fairy tale, and we were there to break down the fairy tale. All this indigo energy came in, we were like, yo, you're living a fucking lie, you know that? Like, everything that you're watching or you're trying to be is a lie. So that was the energy that needed to come in order to get the ascension process rolling, to get us moving, to get us going, is that the indigo kids had to come in. I'm going to talk more about this in Ascension Warriors, so definitely sign up this Tuesday if you haven't yet. We were there to break down that old paradigm and that Leave It to Beaver, Cleaver, like, lifestyle that America was living, which was like a bullshit lie. Creation requires destruction. Like, we came in with that Kali energy. Like, we came in with that, like, Thor energy. Just
world,
like, fuck everything, fuck everyone. We're sick of being lied to. I'm sick of your bullshit. So that's a lot of our generation, like, even D-Generation X. It's so funny how, like, wrestling plays this all out, because if you watch wrestling, it literally plays out this energy. So then, as the years go on, we start pulling in the rainbow energy as the ascension starts happening. So, like, a lot of the indigos are beginning to spiritually wake up and spiritually awaken and be like, hang on, what am I doing with my life? And it, like, everyone that's my age and that's in this world, we've all have, like, similar pasts. You know what I mean? Like, me and Jamie laugh about it all the time. Like, when we see kids that are, like, doing this work and they're, like, 20, 21, and, like, we're, like, I don't know, when I was, like, 20, 21, I was, like, 5 feet from jail. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't, like, I couldn't even imagine doing this shit when I was 21. Like, I was out fucking shit up and pissing people off and being an asshole, and just, that's what I thought I was supposed to be doing. So, you know, it's just funny And so now a lot of these younger kids, they're pulling in the rainbow energy, the rainbow ray. And then you hear the older generations, even us sometimes, like, damn, these kids are so offended by everything. Like, there's some stuff that we can't mention in front of Jess's daughter because she just gets like so like.
I told her the Worcester story the other day and she was like, what?
Yeah, they're so like overly sensitive. So like what happens with these, like the rainbow kids are more loving, they're more caring, they're more empathic to people, like they really want fairness and equality in the world. And I think that the Indigos were on the same thing, but we were kind of like, give me that fucking shit or I'll kill you. And the Indigos were like, I mean, and the rainbow kids are more like, no.
That's wrong.
We need to calm down. We need to relax. So Shayna says that she has little rainbow babies.
Tessa's favorite line is, there's no need for that.
Yeah. Like when you were a kid, you were like telling your mom to F off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so these are the energies. So when the rainbow energy is out of balance, they're more in I'm offended because they take things personally. Because they take everything to heart, they don't know how to deal with their emotions, and they're more emotionally charged in a way where it kind of can become it can in ways become lower vibrational if their energy isn't. It's almost like it's good that the Indigo parents are having the rainbow kids because we're teaching them how to toughen up. Like that is our job. So, you know, and I think that like, cause Gary Vee talks about this all the time, is like the 8th place trophy. And to me, I'm like an 8th place trophy. Like, get the hell out of here. You win, you lose. That's it. You know what I mean? Like when my kid, like I'll tell them like, you know, if they were playing sports, I'd be like, you sucked, you got to do better. You know what I mean? Like that's what I would do if I was a parent. I mean, I'm not a parent, so you know, people are like, you can't talk if you're not a parent. But
so I have to say that she's very like, as being like, I'm sorry, I'm doing a candle right now, so I'm a little spacey, but she's like not the 8th place type of person. Like, I taught her to understand that you need to like strive for that.
But I think that a lot of parents,
I was in a sense the Indigo generation, because a lot of the kids that she's friends with, their parents are a lot older than me. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it balanced it out. Right.
So, you know, one of the things that I wrote some notes here, because I was like, all this, I feel like I'm offended. I feel like it keeps you in a sense of lack. Mm-hmm. And we need to be here as people with a bigger perspective. And as like, if you connect with the Indigo energy, you know how it is to be the offender. You know how it is to be like that person that is being offensive. Yeah. And there really are some people that I feel like that are doing it on purpose a lot now. Like they're going out and they're trying to piss people off and do this. But I think that, you know, a lot of the energy right now is like, I'm offended, poor me. And that's that's like an imbalance. Like, we need to learn to talk to each other more and open up to each other more. And if somebody feels offended by you and you didn't mean to offend them, it's talking to them about that situation. Mm-hmm. But these are some of the energies that I was coming in. I was like, holy shit, like this makes so much sense. So it's funny when you like start channeling something and then you're like, oh, well, this connects to this and this connects to this. And I think the big thing with the energy of being offended, now I'm not like specifically talking about the rainbow kids anymore. Now I'm going into the energy of being offended. It keeps you from understanding different perspectives because you're so emotionally connected to why you're offended that you can't look at other people's points of view. Exactly. So one of the things that I know that offends people, and like this is something that I really believe in, is the whole minimum wage being $15 an hour. I don't agree with that, and I'm gonna tell you why. And like people get really offended over this, and I can understand the emotions behind it because it's like, yo, I can't even support my family. I need to get paid more money. I get that, but, and here's the big but, as a business owner, we need to tell these politicians to lower the taxes that the employers are paying so that we can pay our employees more money. That's like one of the things that is getting left out in this whole situation. And people get really emotional about the minimum wage being $15 an hour. But what they don't understand is that when you're a small business owner, you don't get tax breaks. You don't get anything like that. The taxes are absurd that you have to pay. And sometimes when you're paying a lot of employees, the taxes you pay can be more than your rent. So that's something that, you know, people get offended by. It's like people are fighting about it. People aren't listening to each other about it. And we need to balance out the indigo energy, which is the people that are getting pissed off by the people that are constantly offended all the time. And then you have the offended people that are getting pissed off all the time by the people that are the offenders and just talking a lot of shit and not listening to them. So like, what we should be doing as an enlightened and spiritual community is being the middleman and trying to gap like in between them. Because what people aren't understanding is that when you raise yourself on higher frequencies, you can connect with each other on different levels, and it doesn't have to be arguments and fights. It can be understanding. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. I gotta go start making stuff though. I did get this Frappuccino and it's really good. But figure out which energy you connect to more. I'm definitely the offender. And you know, as the offender, sometimes I do get offended by things. But do you feel that you get more offended? And like, how are you carrying that energy? Are you letting that energy take over everything? Like sometimes when people say things too, they don't mean it. Like they don't mean to hurt you. They're just annoyed by the situation. Yeah. So I don't know. I think that we need to learn to balance out these energies and work with these energies and both energies are needed. Both energies are needed. The offenders are needed because we're here to toughen people up. Mm-hmm. And then the offended are needed because they're here to teach people how to be more empathetic. And to connect with people's emotions. And that is the balance. That is the whole duality that me and Steve talk about on our podcast as well, when we go to the occult symbolism and things like that. But the next podcast that we do in 2 weeks, I don't know the exact date. It's going to be, hang on, let me get the date. So the 30th of August, we're going to go into etymology. I think that's how you say it, where we're going to study words. So words are spelled, right? You spell out a word, and that is connected to creating a spell. So every time that you say certain words, you are doing a spell. So if you say, I hate you, you're sending a negative energy. You are spelling on that person. Like you are literally sending them negative, dark energy. You know what I mean? So we're going to go over a bunch of different words and talk about them and how it connects to, and I don't really know a lot about it, so I got to study on it. I've heard some people talk about it before, but it's definitely going to be an interesting subject. When I'm in public and people get all offended and shit, I clear the space and energy. Yeah, that's another thing too, is if you know how to do that, because that'll definitely help. But it's all about perspective. It's all about seeing other people's perspective. And I definitely think that the offender and the offended are actually needed within our growth process and our evolution process. So it's very interesting when you actually start to pull back and you look at it and you're like, wait a minute, this is why this has happened, because all of these different energy rays are coming in and they're trying to teach us all these different lessons and how to work with each other. So thank you all for joining in today. I hope that you have a wonderful Saturday or wherever you are around the world, whatever day that it is or whatever day that you're watching this. And we're going to Salem tomorrow. Maybe we should go live from Salem.
I have a call.
All right. I'll see y'all soon. Tomorrow night, either way, we'll be live on the Ascension NXT page doing our online shopping night. And if you're interested in learning more about the Ascension Warriors energy, click the link that I pinned in the comments and join me Tuesday night. Thank you, Jamie, for watching. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you, Shayna, and I will see you all soon. It's that Frappuccino. I'll see you all soon. Bye.